Sangeet.
Thank you, Nishi, once again for making me part of this IC. So I'll be talking about management of complicated recurrent retinal detachments and what do you understand by a recurrent retinal detachment. What I understand is a retinal detachment occurring after a successful primary procedure for retinal detachment. So it's totally different from a failed procedure. It is occurring after a successful surgery for retinal detachment. And what could be the causes? It's the new retinal tears. I think the most common cause of recurrent RD presenting after 3 months of primary surgery, the most common cause will be the new retinal tears. That is the retinal breaks that they are developing after successful primary surgery. And they could be consequence of the ongoing primary process, or they could be secondary to the surgical procedure itself. And the second main cause of recurrent detachment, which presents usually within 3 months of primary surgery, is PVR. And this RD then results from the development of pre-retinal or subretinal membranes due to a complex wound healing response leading to cellular accumulation, proliferation, fibrin deposition, and contraction of formed membranes. And Dr. Subhendu has already covered how to manage PVR. I'll just touch how to prevent this from happening. So for new retinal tears, how to prevent that new retinal tears should not happen during the primary surgery. One is like if you are doing a vitrectomy, while doing a peripheral vitrectomy, you should use a low aspiration, low flow and high cutting rates to prevent these new retinal tears from happening. And then thorough vitrectomy around the breaks and visible degenerations has to be done. Minimal instrument exchange and good vitreous clearance at the sclerotomy sites also prevents development of retinal incarceration of the vitreous into the sclerotomy sites and prevents new retinal tears from happening. And then avoid excess vitreous-based traction while inducing or extending PVD. Again, a very important point. When we see sometimes that we are inducing PVD, the PVD stops being extended at one particular point. I think we should not use excessive traction at that moment. That definitely causes new breaks to form. Then avoid over treatment of lattices and keep a healthy rim of retina between the scar and the lattice. Because many of these retinal tears, the new retinal tears that happen, develop at the edges of these lattices, very close to these lattices, and very close to the scar, laser scars also, which we give very high burns, which we give. They are also one of the causes of the new retinal tears happening after primary surgery. And then examination of peripheral retina after completion of surgery, again, is a must. Use of encircling band, I don't think so. It prevents the formation of new retinal tears. They do happen after that also. So management will include, if you catch it early, you can do a laser or a cryoretinopexy, or you can do a pneumoretinopexy if the tear is in a specific position. And again, you can use vitrectomy with gas tamponade or use silicone oil only. Use silicone oil only if associated PVR is present. So these type of retinal detachments can easily be managed with simpler procedures like vitrectomy with gas tamponade. So this was another 52 years male patient who we had operated for a retinal detachment, a macula on retinal detachment earlier. The patient had 6/6 post-op vision, but 1 year later, the patient came with another recurrence of detachment. You can see on the temporal side this time. So this was the detachment which was occurring due to a new tear form, and that tear was located just posterior to the sclerotomy. I'll just show how we managed this case. There was a little bit of one fixed fold present inferiorly also. So this fixed fold was released. And usually you will find these new tears just behind the sclerotomy sites. You can see here the retinal breaks are present. The new break is present, which has caused the recurrence of retinal detachment. So simply you do vitrectomy around this area. You remove whatever residual vitreous is there. And if you find that there are some kind of membranes, you can remove that. There's no need for excessive ILM peeling in these cases. Do a internal drainage and do a laser or a cryoretinopexy around the break, and then just inject gas in this patient. So there's no need for oil in this patient because there's no extensive PVR in this eye. So I use a 12% C3F8 gas, and this is 3 weeks post-operative. Again, the patient's retina is attached and the patient is maintaining 6/6 vision. So how to prevent PVR? PVR is another cause of recurrent retinal detachment, and how to prevent it in the primary surgery. One thing is to manage the pre-existing inflammation with systemic steroids before taking up the patient for surgery, or you can defer the surgery for a few days till the inflammation gets under control. If any choroidal detachments are there, ideally should give systemic steroids to manage choroidal detachment before taking up the patient. Then avoid use of excessive cryoretinopexy in these eyes. If the pre-existing, there is a risk for a PVR in high-risk cases like any pre-existing PVR or a trauma case. You can use adjuncts like methotrexate while doing vitrectomy, and meticulous vitrectomy in presence of vitreous hemorrhage or other opacities should be done. And the management of PVR, I think Dr. Subhendu has already explained, but you can defer surgery in these cases till the membranes mature. I generally give a gap of at least 3 to 4 weeks from the primary surgery for the membranes to mature, and then you have to make up your mind that you have to spend extra time in OPD explaining the patient, counseling the patient, and in the OT also for this management of PVR, recurrent PVR that is happening. And if you have not buckled the eye in the first surgery, you have to buckle it up. You have to reinforce the base, and then you have to use the stains like the dyes or triamcinolone wisely and freely, and there should not be any laxity on that. And you have to do an extensive membrane peeling in these eyes. Retinectomy sometimes come to the rescue, as Dr. Subhendu also told you, and you have to use silicone oil now to settle these eyes. So a few videos I'll be sharing. This recurrent arginine, how gases gasable is start. The muscle was not there in the primary surgery. Start a semi-tetanic band. Proper basics. As much vitreous as possible. Use triamcinolone in the vitreous. Identify each vitreous stand. Try to remove the maximum amount of vitreous as you can. Then take care of the circumferential traction which happens at the vitreous stage. Extensive ILM peeling, I would prefer even to go beyond the arcade if possible to remove the ILM. In case of any hidden epiretinal membranes also, and prevents the involvement of the macula if the patient recurs again. See, there is an epiretinal membrane here which I identified only while this part of the retina was still, you were not able to fix the traction, so you can do after despite effort, so you can do a relaxing retinotomy in this area to release traction. So do a fluid air exchange and do a 360-degree endolaser. I said, silicone oil is the preferred tamponade in these eyes. This is one day post-operative patient, the retina was settled, and this stage moved off, and at this stage, patient went in for silicone oil removal, and the patient is doing well. So here I'll highlight what is the significance of triamcinolone in this video. This was a 24 years male, had undergone vitrectomy plus belt buckling 3 months ago, but he presented with the recurrence of retinal detachment. So you see here we are removing all the vitreous that is left behind, and once we had done so, I just injected triamcinolone. You see, still so much of this posterior hyaloid is left behind. So you have to scan these eyes completely wisely and remove as much of as vitreous as possible. You have to be liberal with scanning in these eyes. Again, this is a patient who underwent membrane peeling under silicone oil. So 72-year male, he had been undergone vitrectomy oil elsewhere. So the membranes had matured enough, so I thought I'll just remove them under the silicone oil itself. You can do this sometimes if you find that the membranes are mature, and you see these membranes coming off under the silicone oil. In this patient, you can prevent removal of the silicone oil and then re-injection of silicone oil. That the presence of silicone oil provides a counter action when you are removing the membranes extensively, but you have to be careful that you remove each and every membrane. And once you have done this, you can inject once all of the membranes are removed, you can use silicone oil, take a little bit of silicone oil and use the retinal fluid which is left behind, and do endolaser around this particular break that had happened during this. This is 6 weeks post-op. Patient retina detached with silicone oil now. Sometimes we do encounter posterior tears, and this was a patient who had undergone pneumoretinopexy 1 month ago. He had retinal detachment and there were posterior tears, and you can see there's a communication between the vitreous and the subretinal space here. And the tear was lying just adjacent to the optic disc in the staphylomatous areas in the area of chorioretinal atrophy. In fact, and this was the main cause of the recurrent retinal detachment in this eye. So once we settle the retina, doing a drainage retinotomy, and we tried to cover these tears with the ILM flap, but unfortunately the flap was not reaching up to the tears. And we had to use this pre-flap technique to plug these tears, and just remove the ILM flap and just plug these micro holes in the ILM flap. To stabilize these flaps, you can use a little bit of PFCL and then you can plug them better. This is one micro hole that was plugged. There was one more, and I plug the PFCL and plug the other one also. Once you have done that, you can do the surgery in a routine fashion. This way we get gas, and this is to be the retina settled. This is my last video. This was a patient who had undergone multiple surgeries and had a recurrent PVR. And you see in this case, he had already undergone a 360-degree retinectomy earlier elsewhere and has presented with the recurrence of retinal detachment. And in this case, you have to do an extensive membrane peeling. You see here we are using a sharp edge membrane dissector. We are doing a bimanual surgery. These patients will need bimanual surgery to remove all these things. This is a sharp edge membrane dissector, which is made by Epsilon. It's mainly used for PDR with thick membranes, but you can use in these kind of situations also. So this helps in removal of these membranes were easy. Again, as we pointed out earlier, also extensive membrane cleaning is the key to success in these type of cases. This patient, we were able to remove all the membranes and reattach the retina using pre-excisional film, flatten the retina, use further laser treatment, and a direct PFCM silicone oil application this side. Unfortunately, this patient contracted COVID 1 month after surgery and could not recover from that. So I thank you again for allowing me to present this here.